You mentioned earlier today about how you've been playing like pickup and stuff. I guess I'm just curious, like who are you playing like pickup games with?
A lot of former college players, some pro players that are back.
Nobody saw this coming. How does a generational talent like Caitlin Clark go from being the most electric player on the floor to getting managed like a role player? Something wasn't adding up, and by the time the world caught on, it was already too loud to ignore. This wasn't just another game. This was Team USA on a global stage, millions watching, and a 24-year-old coming off 8 months of recovery stepping in like she never left. From the second she touched the court, the energy shifted. You could feel it. The pace, the vision, the swagger, it was different. Even the coaching staff had already labeled her one of the most dynamic playmakers in the game. But what happened next didn't match that energy. She dropped 17 and 12 in just 19 minutes in her debut. Yeah, you heard that right. 19 minutes. That's not easing back in, that's domination. But instead of building around that momentum, the decisions off the court started raising eyebrows. Rotations, minutes, lineups, it all started feeling off. Then things took a turn. Coaching changes mid-tournament. That's already chaos. Carla Lawson steps away, Nate Tibbett steps in, and suddenly the entire vibe of Team USA shifts. New system, new decisions, but the same question kept getting louder. Why is your best player not starting? Even with Clark leading in production, points, assists, impact, you still had her coming off the bench. Fans weren't just confused, they were heated. Social media lit up. People calling it out, questioning everything. And honestly, they had a point. Because every time she hit the floor, she was clearly the most dangerous player out there. But instead of unlocking that from the jump, they ran full unit substitutions, hockey style, keeping her locked into that second unit role. And to the audience watching, that didn't feel strategic. It felt like holding her back. Especially when she's leading the entire tournament in assists and still putting up double-digit scoring off the bench. That's starter production, no debate. Then came the off-court moment that added even more fuel. That viral tunnel clip. Clark trying to slip past media, fans reading into every move, and then suddenly staff stepping in, redirecting her the very next game. Whether it meant something or not, the internet ran with it, and the spotlight got even hotter. But here's where things flipped. Against New Zealand, finally, she gets the start. And what happens? Immediate impact. Buckets, playmaking, control, 14 points, 6 assists, efficient shooting, full command of the game. That's what fans had been begging to see. And now, the organization starts pushing her highlights, showcasing her value like it was always the plan. But heading into the biggest matchup yet against Spain, Clark already knew something wasn't right. She called out the slow starts, hinted at deeper issues, and what happened next? Yeah, you need to see this. Ice. That clip right there? Yeah, that told you everything about her mindset. No ego, no complaints, no drama, just locked in. And that's what makes Caitlin Clark dangerous. She's not chasing minutes, she's controlling moments. So when the biggest test of the tournament hit against Spain, you already knew this was about to get real. And here's where things got spicy. Coach Tibbets rolls out a full veteran lineup again. No Clark in the starting 5. Fans already going off online. But just minutes into the first quarter, he switches it up and brings her in early. That move right there. That's pressure. That's adjustment. Because Spain wasn't playing around. They came in aggressive, physical, and ready to punch back. Their top prospect was already cooking early, crashing boards, putting up numbers. This wasn't a walk in the park anymore. This was a real battle. But then, Clark does what Clark does. End of the first quarter, clock winding down, boom, a laser pass to Angel Reese right under the rim, perfect timing, buzzer beater assist. That's not just a highlight, that's IQ. That's clutch. And just like that, momentum swings heavy in Team USA's favor. And it didn't stop there. She wasn't out there hunting points, she was running the entire show. Controlling tempo, reading defenses before they even set up, pulling defenders in and creating open looks. Even the official broadcast started hyping her up live. When you get that kind of respect mid-game, you know you're doing something special. But give Spain credit, they kept fighting. Every time Team USA tried to pull away, Spain responded. Physical inside play, fast guards, forcing turnovers, they made this game uncomfortable. And for a moment, it looked like things might actually get tight. But every single time Clark touched the ball, boom, order restored. That's the difference. That's impact you don't always see in the box score. Fans watching live kept repeating the same thing. Why wasn't she starting from the beginning? And honestly, at this point, it wasn't even a debate anymore. By the second half, it was crystal clear. When Clark was on the floor, everything clicked: faster pace, cleaner looks, better spacing. When she sat, the energy dipped. Not terrible, but noticeable. And against a team like Spain, that gap matters. Now Team USA gets the win, 84-70. Solid performance, strong numbers across the board. But let's be real, the scoreboard wasn't the headline. Because Clark drops a quiet stat line, 7 points, 7 assists, but don't let that fool you. She was everywhere. Every play, every setup, every shift in momentum, she had her fingerprints on it. And then, that moment. A pass from her former Iowa teammate Megan Gustafson, now on the opposing side. A full circle moment in the middle of a high-stakes international game. But what happened after that? That's where things took another turn. You gotta see this next part. Ice. That moment right there, that little exchange. That hit different. Because beyond all the noise, the pressure, the rotations, that's who Caitlin Clark is. She stays locked in when things get messy. She doesn't fade. She elevates. And that presence. You can't coach that, you either have it, or you don't. Now fast forward to the post-game, and this is where everything comes full circle. Coach Tibbetts steps up to the podium, undefeated, 5-0, but this time, there's no sidestepping it. No more experimenting talk, no more we're testing combinations. Because the reality, it's staring right back at him. The same player he kept bringing off the bench just dominated the flow of the biggest game of the tournament. Reporters start firing questions, and you can feel it in the room. Between the coach speak, between the safe answers, the truth is loud, the fans were right. The numbers backed it up. And Clark. She proved it every single time she touched the floor. Remember that emotional speech caught on camera earlier in the tournament? About energy, body language, urgency? Clark was already living that standard. Night after night. Possession after possession. No drop-off. Even veterans backed the coach publicly. But stats don't lie. Production doesn't lie. Impact doesn't lie. Clark wasn't just part of the system. She was the system. And this Spain game, it wasn't just a win, it was a statement. Because while everyone was debating lineups, she was leading the MVP fan vote by a mile. Fans saw it early. Before the adjustments. Before the recognition. Before the media caught up. 8 months out. Doubts everywhere. Questions about her return. And then boom, Puerto Rico happens. She didn't just come back, she took over. You saw glimpses of the future too, young stars sharing the court, chemistry building, a new era loading. And at the center of it all, one name kept showing up. One player kept shifting the game every time she stepped on the floor. Caitlin Clark. Berlin World Cup is next, and now? There's no confusion. No debate. No maybe. Because what started as a question, ended as a statement. You can tweak lineups, you can manage minutes, you can try to control the narrative, but eventually, the game exposes everything. And when the lights were brightest, when the pressure hit its peak, she delivered. So now I'm asking you, did Team USA almost fumble this by holding her back early? Or was this all part of the plan? Drop your take in the comments, and if you're rocking with real, unfiltered WNBA stories like this, hit that subscribe button. Because on this channel, we don't just watch the game. We break it down like insiders. I prefer this response.